Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Wakakadash, double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled word, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to you Akim out there. And this is in the news on this Monday night, 9:46 p.m. on August the 29th, 2022. And this is a news article for in the news in regards to the Wall Street. And this is a news article from Salakia about that. This is a news article from the Wall Street Journal, and this was published on August the 29th, 2022 at 4:55 p.m., which was last updated. And as you see, once again, the stock crashes once again. And the highlight of this news article, it reads from the Wall Street Journal, and it says, today's stock market news on Monday, August the 29th, 2022. The Dow declines, deepenings on interest rate concerns. It says to follow the Wall Street Journal for market coverage. It says today's coverage stocks treasury prices fell, with the stock retreat accelerating into the close as investors remain unsettled by the Federal Reserve's resolves to keep fighting inflation, even if it costs the economic pain. Wow. It says the S&P 500 fell 0.7%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average slid 0.6%. And which includes, I'm looking on the internet right here on my desktop, it says the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell negative 184 points of 0.75% in the negatives range as of August the 29th, 2022, as the markets close around about 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern Time today. And once again, the Dow Jones markets in the losing streaks once again, as it's been on a consistent basis from yesterday all the way in today. And continue reading on. The Nasdaq declined 1% on Friday. The U.S. stocks fell sharply after Federal Chairman Jeremy Powell said the central banks must continue raising interest rates and keep them at an elevated level until it is confident that the inflation is under control. But it seems like times when they're still fighting inflation, even though inflation been decreasing, but you've been still seeing signs of the consumer spending from 9.1% all the way to 8.5%. So that lets you know that consumer spending still going up. The inflation, even though it decreased a little bit, but you still have hyperinflation and the cost of living and everything like that. And definitely the consistent basis of the Wall Street, of the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq as well too. Consistently slipping now more than ever, on an everyday basis. So this is a statistic shows the U.S. Treasury gain from the second year to the 10-year. It's a up and down slope on both of the scales of it, It says the stocks start week in negative territory. Right, because this is the start of the new week, which is Monday. It says the major U.S. stocks market benchmark closed lower Monday to kick off the trading week. The S&P 500 dipped 0.7%, and the Dow Jones Industrial eased to 0.6%, and the Nasdaq Composite fell to 1%. The 10-year U.S. Treasury yield settled at 3.109%, up from 3.34 on Friday. So from August 25th all until August 29th, you've been seeing the Dow Jones. This is a graphic statistic of it. So for the past 4 days, 3 to 4 days, you've been seeing a continuing drop of the red chart shows it right here of the S&P 500. From August the 25th, it had went up a little bit, then it slowed all the way back down on August the 29th. And the chart you see of that Nasdaq Composite, it was up a little bit at first, and it sloped back down as well too, as along with the Dow Jones, the Dow Industrial as well too. They said the major U.S. market benchmark was still negative territory heading into the last half hour in New York, which I believe it was like 2:30 to 3 o'clock of today. As you see, the S&P, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq Composite slips. And I'm reading again for edification's sake. It says the major U.S. stock market benchmarks were still in negative territory heading into the last half hour in New York, which is about 7 to 8 hours ago. It says the S&P dipped 0.3%, the Dow Jones Industrial eased 0.25%, as the Nasdaq Composite fell 0.6%, right? Because they still, the Dow Jones, it reacts to what's going on. The members of the federal chair of the Wall Street, and the Wall Street affects what's going on globally, economically, with the oil prices, the gas prices, of the consumer prices, of the economy, of the inflation rates, of the interest rates, because they still got, why they still trying to fight ease to end the inflation. They still raising the interest rates, but it seems like at times when they the Federal Reserve continues to raise the interest rates, these stocks keep on slipping, and it's entering the negatives, and it's been like this on a consistent basis. I believe this is like the third or fourth day this has been happening, even though this is entering a new week of the stocks. It has consistently been falling once again. It had fell on Friday, now it had fall again on Monday to start the new week with the stocks market. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see this trend continuing, because the stocks, the stock market runs through the economy as well too. Even though they might have somewhat gains of jobs or lower unemployment rate, lower inflation, lower gas prices or oil production. And I seen a news article, I believe it said the oil production been down since the fourth. It been the lowest since the fourth or fifth week now, I believe. And the inflation as well too. But you still have heavy concerns of the inflation as the Federal Reserve continues to rise the interest rate, as consumer spending continually, as the rocky pace of the economy, the rocky pace of the housing market as well too, and the stocks and bonds of these companies, these tech companies, and etc. As these stocks keep on continuing to slip. But wouldn't be surprised, like I mentioned before, as it continues to slip. Jeremiah 51:8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed spiritually. How for her, take bond for her pain, if so she may be healed. Right, because with this continuing trend going on of the stock markets, the consumer spending, the inflation, the cost of living, everything going up, and then with the pandemic going on, and many different things that's going on in the world. So that shows you more signs of a modern day Babylon is falling on the economic scale, because everything is going to constantly, consistently goes up. Even if the inflation is down a little bit, or the gas production is down a little bit as well too. But you're still gonna have the cost of living. Everything is continually be expensive. And what major events that's coming this winter, especially what's coming on December the 13th, if it be fully official about in regards to the Caragma, with the central banks making that announcement. And it goes to show you more signs of that MOTB, that Caragma, that's starting to be shown lately in the news. That digital Caragma, that cashless society, and that's where we're entering into as well too. Even though the paper dollar, the American dollar, still got high value, but it's not going to be more any value very soon. And that's why you got these other countries like China, Russia, and India. They dipping away from the American dollar, and I believe it's Iran. I believe they coming out with their own type of currency as well too. So everything is going to be digital. But back to the matter at hand, that's another topic. But yeah, with the continual inflations, the continued consumer spending, with food prices continue to go up, the cost of living is continuing to go up, and everything like that. So all these things are going to continue. And like I mentioned before, with the Wall Street, it reacts to what's going on in the world, especially economically, as we see the stocks, bonds continue to crash and keep on a consistent basis slipping, because the economy runs on the stocks and bonds as well too, and they fund a lot of money, try to build a good, solid economy, with the GDP, continue to slips as well too, even though jobs are created, or like more tech jobs, or jobs that are being created, but you still have a low unemployment rate, but you still have like everything constantly, consistently going up, like the housing market not so good, still kind of rocky. The cost of living is constantly, consistently going up. I believe it was a record-breaking of high of the cost of living in New York and all these major cities. It had increased. The increase of paying a house mortgage, the increase of you paying rent on a yearly basis, monthly or yearly basis, constantly, consistently going up. So all these things are still taking place. That's why modern day Babylon is constantly, definitely falling on an economic scale, and we're seeing these things right before our eyes, and expect to see the consumer spending to increase. It might stay in the 8.1 or 8.5 or 8.9% range, or 8.7 potentially, you know, when the new report come out this winter, very soon, I believe, because fall is right around the corner, and then you're gonna have potentially a new report comes out if the inflation continues to drop, or the oil production or the gas prices continue to drop as well too. Even though gas prices are still at a high, steady pace, and inflation as well too. That's why the Federal Reserve is trying to find ways to maneuver and try to ease the inflations and drop it. As the Federal Reserve's still trying to predict if they want to increase the interest rate. Even if you do increase the interest rates, that's stopping. I believe that's really not gonna help the inflation slow down a little bit. But you will expect to see the inflation is gonna increase right back up, And the oil production as well too, even though the oil production is consistently dropping as the inflation as well too. But you're gonna see both of those, the inflation and the gas productions, go back up as well too. Because especially you see it with the Russia-Ukraine situation and the exporting of gas productions and stuff like that. So yeah, that shows you more signs that modern day Babylon is falling on the economic scale, globally as well too. Even though their dollar, it might be high value, but very soon it's not going to be any value because everything is going to be digital. Everything is going to be full mandatory digital, and that's that Quran, which is recorded in Revelations 13 through 16 through verse 18. So yeah, modern day Babylon is definitely falling economically, and it's going to continue to be that way, Bring out Revelations. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried with a mighty voice. Salakia. He cried with a mighty, strong voice, saying, Babylon is great is fallen, and has become an habitation of devils, and the whole of every foul spirit, and a cage, an uncleanful, hateful bird. Right? Because modern day Babylon is the infrastructure, to the division of the nations on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side, in many different aspects of modern day Babylon is falling, especially on the economic sense, even though they might think the economy is increasing, but it still is at a rocky pace, and it's going to continue to be like that, and expect to see going to have a high inflation, going to go right back up through the roof, even though it's declining. But we will expect to see the inflation going to constantly go back up. The consumer spending is going to go back up. The cost of living is going to go back up as well too. Huh? Oh, out there. Oh, Mark out there with me. Yeah. So yeah, expect to see the consumer spending, like I mentioned again, consumer spending going up, inflation gonna go back up, gas production is gonna go back up. For you paying food prices gonna consistently goes up. Paying your bills gonna consistently go up. the cost of living is going to constantly, consistently goes up as well too. Even if you do have these inflations going down, continuing to decline, and these oil productions, gas prices or oil production prices continue to slip. But hey, we're gonna see those go drastically right back up as well too. And we're gonna potentially might see the continuing trend of the Wall Street consistently crashing, I believe it was on Thursday or Friday that it dropped to like 1,000 points due to the concern over the inflation and the Federal Reserve, the Feds of the Federal Reserve of the Wall Street. They still trying to find ways to see if they're gonna raise the interest rates. So they trying to see, hopefully that'll be a solution to bring down the inflation, because ease the inflation. They said they will try their best, even if it might be an economic pain. I was like, ouch, that's a blow right there. So that's why I did mention, I was like, they thinking that the economy is good, which is not. It's still at a rocky steady below pace, So we will expect to see the inflation rate gonna increase, the oil production gonna increase, cost of living, consumer spending, and all of those categories is gonna continue to increase, and more than ever, and we're seeing more signs more than ever on a weekly basis, on a daily basis as well too, and it's increasing, of the current fall of modern day Babylon on an economic scale, and this trend is going to continue to increase of the economic continue to fall of modern day Babylon, So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of the Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above.